Okay, so our man Jasper Murray did it. He finally did it. He got the Pyraminx world record average. Unbelievable, so exciting. And of course, New Zealand's first cubing world record. I managed to catch up with Jasper the day after to have a bit of a chat. I'll be honest, it got out of control. We talked for 2 hours on Discord about the whole journey of the world record from when I first met Jasper like 4 years ago all the way until Twisty Taranaki 2022 when he got that 1.66 average. This is episode 1 of 3, maybe 4 episodes of what was supposed to be a one-shot deal, but we just ended up with so much. I wanted to make a proper show of it. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. We'll talk more later. So here's the first 25 minutes or so of my chat with Jasper the day after he became the world's fastest Pyraminx solver. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing I want to know is, has it sunk in yet that you have the world record?
No, not at all. It's
We should say, for the benefit of people watching, that we're recording on, what day is it? It's Sunday, so it's the day after, isn't it?
Yep.
It all happened yesterday. It was round 1, right?
Yep, round 1.
And it all kicked off. I wasn't watching the stream. I was completely busy at the time. I couldn't get near the stream, and then I just checked my messages, and I was just like, it was all kicking off, and I was like, wait, something big's happened here. What's happening? So have a lot of people been in touch with you?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, tell me about it. Like, who's been hitting you up?
Oh, I think probably the most memorable ones would be I got a message from Gan asking what Pyraminx I used.
Shiyi on Instagram as well?
Yeah. Oh, they tried to follow my private account, and so I declined them, and then I messaged them with my cubing one, but they didn't see it, so that's a bit unfortunate. But yeah, It was really cool to be on their account. So
if anyone's watching and knows Chi, then go and hit them up and tell them which Jasper to follow. The newspapers as well?
Oh my god, yeah. Being on the front page of Stuff was that was a surprise. I thought it was for some local Taranaki newspaper, so
yeah, it was big news in Taranaki. So has Simon been in touch then to say congrats or to call you names?
Yeah, I think he was probably the first person that messaged me. It was quite nice.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I bet he's been watching that closely, hey?
Yeah, and I already started doing that, like, because Timon has a comp this weekend, and when I woke up yesterday, I was, like, frantically checking his rounds to make sure he hadn't broken it.
Yeah, I bet, especially after Nats 2020, which we'll talk about in a while, I suppose.
I did not want my WR to become an OCR average.
Well, hey, that's the life of being a world record holder, I guess. It's just like fighting off the press, fighting off people on Instagram. So much love on Instagram and on all the Discords and everything. Hey, it was really cool. What I'd like to talk about is like how you got to here, because obviously we're both Christchurch, and I know you quite well and have done over the last sort of, I guess, 4 years now, from when I posted the other day on Instagram about the first time that must have been the first time I met you, was at that all-day club event, right? With your what was it, a 26?
Yeah, 26 average.
26 average. But I was racking my brains trying to think what your first official competition was. Can you remember that far back?
Yeah. So one other funny thing about that average is I was faster at 3x3 than I was at Pyraminx. I think I got like a low 20 average at that thing.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, so my first official competition was in Christchurch. It was Supreme South Open 2018. I think it was in October.
St. Martin's School.
Yeah.
At that point, had you decided that Pyraminx was your event, or?
For the comp, I definitely did not like Pyraminx. I had a really trash one, and I was not practicing at all. Yeah, round 1, I still wasn't really interested. Although I do remember I had like a group of friends I was sitting with at that comp, and for some reason I had this fantasy that like one of the people in the friend group was going to get really good at Pyraminx, and I was like, I want to be friends with someone who's good at Pyraminx. And then none of them liked it, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll practice for you guys. Maybe.
Really?
I don't know, it was kind of a joke. Then in finals, I saw Ben get the NR single, and I thought that was really cool. And then when I went up to solve, I ended up getting really good times for me. I think I got an 8.00 average, which was quite a big jump from the 26.
Yeah, because that wasn't much later.
No, it was, a few months later, I think. And I actually came 4th at the comp. So I was like, wow, I almost podiumed at my first competition. That's awesome.
That's what, I didn't realize you got 4th at the first comp. That's mad. So then after that comp, was that kind of when Pyraminx became a thing for you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was like fully committed to it yet, but that was when I started actually wanting to do some practice. I remember I got a much better cube after that because I borrowed my friend's bell for that average, which is why I did so well because it was way better than my other one. And then my next comp was Nationals 2018 up in Auckland, and I think I was averaging like 7 or 6 there, and I really wanted to make finals. And at the comp, I met Liam, and we were just like best friends at that comp. We just hung out like the whole time, and we both averaged like the exact same. So we were like having a little rivalry between us. And what ended up happening was in the second round, it was top 12 to make finals, and Liam came 12th, and I came 13th.
No!
So I was really sad about that. And then I was like, I'm going to practice so that never happens again. After that, it was the summer holidays, and I just practiced quite a bit. So I was like sub 5 by the time I started at school again.
Nationals 2018, it's becoming a thing. You're thinking about Pyraminx as a thing. You've been stung with a 13th place. You missed round 2. Where did you go after that?
Once it was the beginning of 2019 and I was getting like 4s at home, my next competition was SNZ Southern 2019, which was at the same venue as the previous Christchurch comp that I'd gone to. And there I ended up getting 2 low 4 averages. I think I got 4.12 in the first round and 4.10 in the second round or something. And there I DNF'd out of a 3.8 average, which I was really annoyed about. But I was like, that sub 4, that would be so cool. Although I didn't really mind because I ended up winning. So that was my first podium, was first place at SNZ Southern for Pyraminx.
And so how far off of like national record are you at that point when you were hitting like 4-second averages? Where you must have been getting close to the NR by then, were you?
Not really. At that point, NR was 299 by Lucas, so I was still like over a second off, but I had gotten a couple of sub NR averages at home, I think. So it was kind of in my sights, but it was still quite a long way off.
So where's next? Where are we going next after that?
So my next competition after that was up in Wellington. It was Oceania 10th anniversary. And at that competition, I think I was averaging like mid-3. And I really, really wanted to get a sub 4 average. And it had 3 rounds, which is my first time having 3 rounds at a comp because I didn't make finals at nationals. And the other ones had 2 rounds. I can't remember which way around they were, but in round 1 and 2, I got a 4.7 average, which was just a disaster.
Yeah.
And I got a 4 flat average, which I was very annoyed about.
That's annoying. That's rude.
I also remember getting like a solved V and like completely messing it up.
As we're progressing through these competitions, like where, and you're getting podiums and it's becoming more serious, where, because we've talked about it a lot, like your biggest barrier hasn't been the algs and hasn't really been the knowledge, but it's been the battle with nerves, the nerves in competition. When do you think it started to become something that you were conscious of?
I think at that Christchurch competition where I won for the first one after I was practicing, I was nervous, but I still did pretty well. But I'd say that Wellington competition was the one where I really realized it was a huge issue, because the first 2 rounds I like got super nervous. And then what ended up happening in the final there was I got a 3.42 average, which I was really, really happy with. And I ended up winning again. So at that point I had won 5 rounds in a row.
Yeah, wow.
And I was NR3 then. So I was really stoked with that because that was way better than any of my other events at the time. And I was just thinking like, wow, I'm really glad I managed to pull through in the finals because I was super disappointed with how I did with nerves in the first 2 rounds.
And did you know that you wanted NR? Did you know that you were like, okay, I actually want to get this NR? Because what was Ben's single that you mentioned?
Oh yeah, Ben's single was the 204, and I think at that time
You've just done a 166 average. That's ridiculous.
I think I was getting quite a lot of sub NR singles and averages because I was averaging like mid-3, so I would have gotten a bunch of sub 2s and sub 3 averages probably.
Oceania 10th anniversary, you got 3 rounds in, you got sub 4, Big sub 4, 3.4 you said. Where are we going after that? Are we in 2020 yet, or are we still...
One more comp in 2019. So then I grinded a lot. So from that comp until my next one, which was Otago October, down in Dunedin, I got from mid 3 to high 2. So then I was averaging better than NR at home. So obviously, and there were 3 rounds. So obviously I was thinking about it quite a lot, and I really wanted to get NR.
And what happened? What was the result?
So first round, I started off with a 2.5. So I was like, hell yeah. Then second solve, I got a 2.1. So I like almost got NR single,
Yeah.
and now I'm on track. And then I think I got like a low 3 on the next one. So then I'm like freaking out. Like I have a couple of solves and I only need to get like a 3.5 or so. And then on solve 4, I'm like going along, I get the scramble. I'm like completely zoned in. And then I do it and I'm like, yes, I do it. And then I look down and there's a tip sitting there, not quite correctly positioned. So I got a low 3 with a +2 on that one. I'm like, okay, it's fine. I have another solve and I can easily get this because, yeah, it's going to be a really bad solve for me that I need to get sub 3. So no point in worrying. Only I got there, I got to solve and the cover comes off and it's just the absolute worst scramble I've ever seen. And I'm just sitting there like, what am I supposed to do on this? And then I just kept inspecting and looking around and I found nothing. So then I ended up getting like a 3.9. So then that was a 3.1 average, 317. And without the +2, it would have been a 2.90 average. So that would have been NR.
Dang. Yeah. Okay,
But-
so there we go. That's our first near miss.
That's first round, but there's 2 more rounds, so it's okay, you know, I'll probably get it.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Round 2, let's see. I don't actually remember the exact solves very much, but I know that my first solve was a 3 flat with a timer reset.
Yuck.
And then I did pretty well. I got like 2 really bad solves and then 2 really good solves. So then that ended up being a 3.27 average. Without the timer reset, I think I actually didn't know what it would have been for like 2 years. And then recently someone like randomly commented on it saying what the time was. They'd done some like watching in slow motion or something. And it turns out it would have been a 2.98 average.
Oh, okay. Dang.
So that was really sad. And then in finals, I was super nervous because I knew that I didn't have another comp for ages because I wasn't going to nationals. And my first solve was like a 7.
Okay, good start. That'll shake you.
And I was like, okay, how am I supposed to do this now? And then I go down to the second solve and I'm sitting down and I see Dwayne's time and he got a 3 and I'm like, okay, that's weird. I thought he averaged like 7. And then so I'm like, sit down, I see the scramble, like, so that's how Dwayne got a 3. I'm probably gonna mess this up. Let's just go. And then I do it, and then I see the time, and it's a 164. And that was like, that was the most exciting thing ever. And it just came out of nowhere because I just failed NR average 2 rounds in a row and started off with a 7. And suddenly I've got this NR and I've beaten NR single by 0.4. And so, yeah, my reaction was pretty funny. It turned into a bit of a meme.
I think I know the one. That's the juice. That's the big big fist pump.
Yeah, and then the video cuts off like halfway through.
Yeah. I'd be doing this video a disservice if I didn't cut that in right now, so that's going to have to happen. Cool. All right, so that was it. That was the first NR. You got the single at 1.64.
I choked the rest of my solves and got like a 4 average. But
no, that's all right. You got the glory. You got the single.
What I really wanted at that comp was to get Pyraminx NR, and I did that in some capacity, so that was fine.
Okay, so we're in 2020 now, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. So then it was quite a long time. I want to say 5 or 6 months until my next comp, and I was practicing a lot. So my next competition was Auckland Summer 2020, and another kind of side thing that was going on is that was when COVID was really starting up. So I had like a feeling that it might be my last competition for a while. So I knew that like I kind of had to get it there. And also just having all that time where I'd wanted to get an R average at Otago, but I didn't. Like I just had so many months of just thinking about all my, like, because I had 3 rounds of failing to think about. So
yeah.
I was like, what if I hadn't +2 that solve. What if my thumb had landed 1 centimeter further away from the reset button? You know? And I was averaging like 2.5, 2.6 because I just practiced a lot. My first solve was a pretty average scramble, but I kind of messed up the execution a little bit, so it was a 3.11, but I'm still thinking like, that's good enough for NR, you know?
Yeah, that's alright.
Second solve, really good scramble. I'm like, oh, I did the execution so well. And it was a 209. So that was great. But I accidentally turned a tip the wrong way halfway through. So it was actually a 409.
Oi, okay.
So I'm like, God damn it. But yeah, there's still more solves to go. And then the next one was a horrible, horrible scramble. But I managed to find something that I could turn fast on. So that was a 2.8. So I'm like, okay, I'm back in it. I've got a like 3.1 and a 2.8. Solve after that, I just choked.
Oh yeah.
It was like a mid-3. So then I knew I couldn't get NR. And there were only 2 rounds at the comp, so I had to get it in finals. And I knew, and it was like, I had like so many months before it, and I felt like I was going to have so many months after it. So I was like, this is like the most important moment in my life. And then the last solve was a really good scramble, and I just had a lot of shakes, so I got a 3.9. So that was pretty awful, but yeah, I had finals.
So then finals.
To be honest, though, that final is probably the most nervous I've ever been in my life. That was definitely more nerve-wracking than the world record.
Wow.
So, like, if you go on the video, you can just see my hands absolutely quaking. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
And I kind of worked out that because I averaged mid-2 and NR was 299, if I just turned really slowly and tried not to lock up, I could probably do it. So the first solve was super shaky, but an average solution, and it was a 2.90. No, 2.89.
2.89.
And then I was like, okay, that's all right. And side note, I was sitting with Chenru Yang. It was fixed stations, so we were sitting there. I was talking to him after every solve, and he really helped me there.
Oh, nice.
And then the next one, I was like inspecting. I had a really good solution planned out, and I one-looked it. Which was pretty rare for me then. So I was like, okay, let's go. And then I overshot a view move in like the second move or something. And then I didn't realize it and kept going. And then I realized what happened. So then I had to undo all the moves that I'd done to get back to where I overshot. And then I did it, and then I undid the overshooting. And then I had to redo all the moves again. And then finish the solve. So that was a 4. That was a 467, if I remember
But
correctly.
all that was still a 4. That's wild.
So now it's like, I already described why I was putting so much pressure on this round. And like, I was shaking so much. And I had one solve that was like good enough. And then this 4 that would just absolutely ruin anything I did. And it meant that I had to get 3 good solves in a row. Because if I got like one mistake on any of them and it counted, it would just ruin everything. So I was like, oh no. But luckily the third scramble was really good. And I got a 2.2, a 225 on it.
Nice.
So I'm like, okay, it's alright. And then...
It's okay, it's still there.
Scramble 4, I'm still thinking, man, I don't think I could get 2 good solves in a row. Like, I'm probably going to mess this up again. And then it was very, very similar to the first solve. It was a very similar solution, pretty much the same amount of shaking, and it was a 295. So yeah, I didn't mess it up on that one. But just like, NR's 299, my counting solves are a 289 and a 295. I have a 4, and I have all these months before and after that I'm not going to be competing, and this is my last chance to get NR. So I was just shaking, and I remember before the last solve,
so much pressure.
For the last solve, like my hands were just jittering, and I had no idea what I was gonna do, and I was just thinking like, no way, man. And that last solve was definitely the most nerve-wracking. Like, I'm kind of stuttering my words just thinking about it. Like,
Yeah.
I can, if I close my eyes, I can put myself in that moment, and it was just,
wow.
When I was like seeing the cube was about to come, like that was just, my heart was thumping so much I couldn't hear like anything else.
That sounds like that's like proper trauma. if you're still following you around.
Yeah. So what happened on the last solve was, once I actually got into it, like, I don't know how to describe it, but I didn't do anything intentional to like calm my nerves. But somehow when I was inspecting, like, I had this like a big build up of pressure inside me from all the nerves. And then as I was starting the timer, it just like released somehow. And then it was like so the whole time that I was doing the solve, it was like a frozen moment in time. Like everything was frozen around me. And I did it, and just my hands randomly stopped shaking as I was doing it. And then I just pulled off like an epic solve, and I got a 240, which was better than average at the time. And it was kind of a bad scramble too. And I was like, wait, how did I do that? And then I was like, wait, I got an R! Let's go! And then I was so hyped.
And so what was the average? What was the NR average that you set?
That was 275.
That was 275, so that took nearly a quarter of a second off it finally.
Yeah, I was so happy. And then I had NR single and average. So I was...
Yeah.
It was great.
The dream.
Yeah, I was so happy.
You mentioned one of the solves that you one-looked, and like, so explain like, has the method's obviously changed since you started to this point, or has it? Like, you're not doing layer by layer at this point and getting NR. Like, what had you switched to? What were you doing?
Yeah, so I did LBL at like nationals, in 2018, and then when I grinded and got sub 5 in the beginning of 2019, I learned Alpha E.
So in 2019, I was doing like intuitive Alpha E with like really basic stuff, no influencing, hardly anyone looking. And then in 2020, just from doing the sheer amount of solves, I'd kind of seen everything so many times that it was kind of developing into becoming algorithms. And I was going to say I was getting smarter with my Vs, but they were still kind of horrible, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah, the solve I one-looked there was like a 2-move V. And so I could see the Alpha E pretty easily.
I'm not going to pretend I know what you're talking about, so I have no follow-up questions, but I'm just going to take your word for it. Is Alpha-E, like, is that still the method that you're using now?
Yeah, so nowadays I do Alpha-E, but I know like a lot of different algorithms for like different AUFs and stuff, and like just so I can cancel into it differently. And then I do really complicated Vs, and I've learned how to one-look really well. So like any V solution, I can predict the case. And I also know some like algs for solving the Alpha-E from other angles, which is called M-Alpha-E, so that you don't have to have the V with the unsolved edge in front. And along with that, I also have like a really strong understanding of how like different sets of like 3 moves or so will affect all the pieces on the cube, so that if I get kind of an unfamiliar case or like a really simple scramble, I can kind of construct something out of those just from knowing how they work and get efficient solutions that don't strictly follow the method. And then on top of that, the other thing I use is pseudo Vs. It's kind of hard to explain. It looks like this. So you have this block here like normal, and then you have the other side of the V is like from a different color. So it's offset like that. And then I know how to track what the case is. So like I imagine the case is something else for like what it would be if these edges had the same relative position, but this was just normally solved.
All right.
And then I like solve it, and then you do this move afterwards. So that can give you like sometimes when there's easy ways to set up to a pseudo V, then you can do that too.
Yeah, wild. I mean, yeah, I struggle to still get my head around the concept of pseudo slotting on 3x3, and I don't think it's that complicated to understand. But I think I know what you're saying. Yeah. So you're solving as though it's the right way, but then you're leaving that last AUF or whatever. Okay, so we've got NR single, we've got NR average. It's Auckland Summer 2020. Which was the same weekend as I took over the store.
Yeah, it was.
Actually, that was exactly.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was the same weekend. It was my first go at running the Instagram when there was a competition running, which was kind of exciting.
Oh, do you want a fun story?
Go on.
After round 1, when I got the 3.4 average, I was like really sad. And then I went on my phone and saw I got a message from you offering the sponsorship. And that like made me feel
true.
way better.
That's true. Yeah, you and Dwayne got it was the messages at the same time, I think, from memory. It had to be Christchurch Cubers. You know how it is. Alright, so there we go. That's episode 1. Thank you so much, first of all, to Jasper for chatting to me and letting me do this. It's been a lot of fun. It has been, tell you what, a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. This is going to be 3 or 4 episodes in total. Tonight we've got all the way to Jasper's NR single and average back in 2020, just before coronavirus. So we're going to move on from there in the next episode. There's going to be at least 2 more episodes, possibly 3. At the time of recording this outro, I don't actually know that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I know this has been a long video and I appreciate every one of you. While you're waiting for the next one of these videos to come out, why not go and check out the latest head-to-head 3x3 final from Christchurch Speedcubers Championships, which we had just the other weekend. You can also check out the game I invented, Game of Cubes. Here's my match with Speedcube Review, aka Sean. Or you can go check out my trash but also PB average of 5 from the competition at the weekend as well. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next one.